everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with a video for the Scorpio full moon lunar eclipse. So there are so many changes happening, and I feel that I say that a lot, but it's just a lot of changes happening to the energetic realm right now. We're really reaching the end of an era, is what I will say, or the end. It's almost like we're reaching the end of many eras. It's a huge shift that's happening now. It's just a huge shift. And so we're likely to feel it on all different areas of being. You know, I've spoken about this a little bit before here on my channel, but when these huge energetic shifts, structural shifts are happening to the kind of the blueprints of the matrix that we're living in, you know, the energetically constructed matrix that we're living in. When changes are happening to that, it's almost like all of the old acts of that matrix, all of the old archetypes of that matrix, you know, their feelings, their narratives, are going to start to come up inside of us. And this is how our free will works, you know, this is how we have free will. It is kind of like you're going to be presented with all of the feelings that have existed in the past era, and also the narratives, you know, the beliefs that kind of belong to these feelings. And then you will get to choose, is this me or not? You know, is this something that I want to continue to channel? Is this something that I want to continue to hold on to? Or am I ready to start to channel something else? So that is kind of one aspect of what has been happening for quite some time already. You know, we've been presented with these old feelings or old timelines, and that's how we're given choice. You know, that's how we can say that, wait a minute, this is not who I am. This doesn't feel like me. Give me an alternative, please. Like, show me an alternative to this feeling. How can I neutralize this feeling that I'm feeling? How can I balance it out? How can I kind of transmute it? So that's kind of what I feel is happening and continuing to happen on the energetic level. We're doing a lot of recycling, restoration, transmutation, and through that we have the opportunity to construct a completely new mind. You know, a mind that actually understands all of these old timelines or archetypes or feelings or acts or whatever it is that you want to label them as. So that's very beneficial. It has been beneficial, and I feel like it's just becoming more and more beneficial. The ability to recognize different feelings and see them in this context of time. You know, where did this specific vibration that I'm feeling originate from? How has it been played out, you know, within my family, within my culture, within the world at large? It's almost like the more information we have about that, the more we're going to be able to have free will, because the less consumed we're going to be with all of these emotions that are just going to start to come up more and more and more. So that kind of brings me on to the physical changes, or the changes that we may start to see externally, and that is that the end of an era is happening. And what it really feels like, it's like there are two distinct endings that I will mention in this video. One is kind of the end of patriarchy, if you will. And so patriarchy originates actually kind of from like the Abrahamic religions. You know, it's the concept of having this God, this all-knowing God that is protecting us humans. The matrix has been constructed around that idea, and that is what patriarchy really is. And so it's kind of like in that age of patriarchy, humans that live in this structure, humans that belong to these religions, for instance, they also construct their own psyche in the same way. And so in that era, it's the ego that is the most important force within our psyche. You know, it's the part of us that thinks that they are the big man, the part of us that kind of has the audacity to be able to think that they know it all. You know, the part of us that thinks that they could be like this glorious, luminous light that can just protect and save and help and heal all other life on earth. You know, that is the part of us that is given a lot of blood and a lot of energy during times like patriarchy. And so people that for some reason do not want to hold that image of I am superior, these people are not given much value during the age of patriarchy. So this is of course super like superficial way of explaining it. If you reflect on it, you will see that there's just a lot of nuances here, and I'm not really giving it justice right now with what I'm saying, but just for the sake of not making this video like hours and hours and hours, I'm just gonna try to be a bit like, yeah, superficial here. So that's like one thing that is ending, that dominance of the ego, the dominance of God in a sense. And so when this happens, it's almost like that matrix where people were protected by this belief, you know, where people were actually protected by their belief and their ability to convince others of their beliefs. That matrix is actually starting to crumble and fall, meaning that, you know, people that are very, very religious and really turn to this image of that big man, the God, they might actually start to feel now in the coming years that it's like we're moving into times where God has left them. Because as this matrix falls, you know, then the feeling of being protected by God is also going to start to disappear. And so this can be quite a challenge, I think, for quite a lot of people. But then there are also a lot of people that, you know, they weren't that religious to begin with. You know, they were maybe more connected to the earth and to the dark feminine. And so a lot of people that have been in the lower realms, you know, it's almost like these are people that kind of, they were born in hell. They grew up in hell. You know, they were born in what the religious people would call hell. They would label these people hell beings, or like demons, dark, you know. And so these people, they're not gonna feel much of a difference, you know. They're actually gonna start to feel more like they're given more space, like they can start to breathe again and live again and kind of come back to life. And so that is kind of where that is one of the splits that are happening right now, that the people that have constructed their culture around religion, and specifically that patriarchal pattern, they're gonna start to feel more emotionally unstable now. This is how it looks like. So this is how it looks like on the energetic realm, that they're gonna be tested because they are falling. They're going through the falling. Whilst the people that are coming from cultures that have been more nature-based, you know, more tuned into nature, they are gonna start to feel like suddenly they have more space around them. Like suddenly they can breathe again, and just like, you know, it's gonna feel like what they are is not gonna be judged so heavily anymore. And so it's a sense of liberation for a lot of people, and a sense of doom for a lot of people. And so again, we can all kind of look at this also from an individual level, you know, because we're living in a global world, and so we're likely to kind of have adopted, oftentimes unconsciously, timelines from both of these different distinct cultures, right? The light, the God, and then the dark feminine. So we might have a little bit of both. But that's why I think it's been coming through so strongly in my videos and in my readings as well over the past couple of years, that, you know, returning to earth, choosing to step down consciously, choosing to ground back to the earth consciously and let go of the fire, you know, the religion, the beliefs, and start to instead actually look at reality, what is here right now. That is going to give us this sense of security and liberty and freedom, is what I think. Instead of trying to, you know, change what is right now, using this make-believe and this kind of, you know, the words, using the words to try to change what is actually true. Now it's the time to start to accept what is actually true, what we're actually feeling on the lower level. Because the change is going to come from the baseline. The change is going to grow from the earth. You know, it's going to grow from the dark. That's how nature operates. We emerge from this dark womb. So we have to go back to that place to kind of give birth to our new selves. So that kind of segues me into the next point. You know, I said that there are these two main changes that I'm really picking up on. And the next change that I feel is coming is happening with the United States. United States has been kind of almost like a mother of culture, right, to the world. United States is a Cancer, and last year they also went through their Pluto return. This year is kind of a year of the Chariot, which is Cancer. It represents Cancer. And so I feel like there's going to be a lot of changes happening right now to the US, but also, of course, hopefully, this is my hope, that these changes are going to be slow moving. It's just going to make it so much easier for so many more people, actually, if they are more slow moving than rapid and sudden. But we'll see. So United States, you know, I'm not American. I'm looking at it from the outside. So the way I see it from my perspective is that United States, they're really built up their identity, their ego in many ways based on this archetype of God, of light, you know, being the light, being the savior, being, in a sense, also the policeman, you know, making sure that everything is happening according to these perceived notions of right and wrong. And it's like they've really taken on that role as part of their identity. But as, you know, that old matrix of that godlike image is starting to crumble, that identity is being put under more and more pressure. It's not going to be abundant anymore, that identity. And so actually, what would benefit us if we hold that identity, again, based on what I'm seeing, is to step down from that role of almightiness and to start to really humble ourselves. And so it's going to be interesting to see see how that plays out within the United States, if people are able to step down from their high horse. You know, it's also something about like the cowboy and the wild west here, that this timeline is also gonna be activated. You know, I feel like there is this deep, almost like a wound within almost like the American consciousness, or the consciousness of the United States, to where people are so afraid to step down from their high horse. They're so afraid also to give up their arms, in a way, their weapons, their way of defending themselves, because there is such a deep wound when it comes to trusting authorities. And this, of course, stems back to the way that the natives were treated. You know, that type of wound, being tricked by words, being tricked by fake deals, it rests in the land. And so it comes into everyone. You know, it comes into everyone. Doesn't matter if you're native or not. If something is in the land, it's going to start rising now. And so that is just, there may be quite a lot of emotional turmoil at first before people really start to make sense of this and understand this. And that is actually where I feel like people that are understanding energies, people that are able to kind of look at these different emotional influences that exists within us all right now, and map them out and pinpoint them and make them, in a sense, more separate from us. People that have that type of ability, I think, may be very important in these areas where there is gonna be a lot of this energy of falling. And so I would definitely say, if you live in some of these areas, if you live in a country that is kind of constructed based on this archetype and this image of the big man god, the big light, then developing this ability, also at the same time working more closely with the earth, and if you have native population, with maybe potentially, I don't know, people of the native population, that type of thing, I feel like can just balance out your energy a lot. And the ability to remain balanced and at peace and detached, you know, understanding on also a mental level, on a conscious level, what is happening right now, understanding on a conscious level all of the different types of energies that you may start to feel. This is what is gonna help us to maintain our free will during the period that we're moving into right now. So as you can see, there is a lot shifting and changing, and I feel like I'm just scratching the surface here, and already this video is so long. So let's just pull some cards here. I wanted to pull from the shaman deck again to see if we could get any guidance. I'm also getting, watch out for trickster spirits. Like, this is not the time to be gullible. Especially if you live in the US. Like, if you live in the US, do not judge the energies that comes to work with you based on their words. That is like the lesson number one, because that's how people have been hijacked in the US. You know, it's like, serve people some appropriate words, you know, serve them a good story, make them believe in a dream, and you can own their soul. So that is not the way to go right now. Look at feeling. Tune into the vibration of the energy. How does the energy make you feel? Why? What is it activating within you? It's like you really have to see the energetic influence. So don't pay so much attention to the words, is what I would say, but really start to read the energy more and understand the energy. The energy is never going to be good and bad. Everything is relative. You know, sometimes being a brutal, merciless warrior is exactly what we would need to survive. Sometimes that was kind of like the top of evolution. That was what humanity was learning, you know. So during these times, that archetype of brutality was very protected. Today, that archetype of brutality is not protected at all, because we have evolved, you know. We're not as blunt anymore as a race. And so that's just one example, you know. Nothing is ever good and bad. If you're seeing things as good and bad, then you're kind of stuck in time. It's just like, then you're just seeing one timeline. And so I would say it's not about good and bad, it's about understanding how it would affect different parts of you, if that makes sense. But yeah, that was something that came through here. Be awake. Like, don't get tricked, don't get lured. If you feel rushed to making a decision, for instance, that is not a spirit that is going to give you space. It's not going to give you time. It's actually going to make you feel more dense. Things like that, you know. Just be sharp about what it is, what types of spirit you're tying yourself to, Also, what types of contracts you may be making with other people right now. Yeah, owl coming through here. And underneath the deck was many paths. So the truth is right now that nothing is set in stone. Absolutely nothing. Like, and particularly on an individual level, you have so much to choose from. Like I said, it's like all of the timelines are melting. And so if you feel stressed by that, if you feel like your mind is freaking out by that, start to slow down time. Like I said, this is going to benefit us collectively if more people can start to slow down instead of trying to speed up and make things happen faster. Actually, what would benefit us would be to slow down and have these changes be stretched out over many years, because that is what is going to give us the ability to kind of learn how to see all of the different nuances of the energies that we're working with. It's going to create more freedom for us as a collective. And so even if you feel like you are the only one doing this right now on an individual level, don't give up, because it does actually work. Slowing down, work with the earth. The earth is trying to slow things down. And so the more I feel like you work with the earth and listen to those signs and synchronicities, the more you're going to grow that part of your energetic power. Just think about it, how it is to walk into a forest with these huge trees. Like huge, huge trees. It literally feels like time slows down. The same is true for us humans. If we work really deeply with our root system, go back in time, go back to the time of your grandparents, I will talk more about that in another video actually. So, but it's like slow down, go back in time, and you will actually have more choice. This is what I'm feeling right now. I think I'm gonna end it there. It's already so much information coming through. But maybe some of you've heard some of this before, or maybe you felt some of this within yourself. So if you want to share any of your thoughts, please do. If not, I hope you're doing great. Take care. Thank you for watching. Bye.